this is the concept of certainty and comfort zones. So for anyone who has followed my work knows that, certainty is one of those things that can drive people into fear because they have control issues. They have a need to feel like they are in control of their environment. They have a need to feel comfortable, and they prioritize that above all else. They have a need to have certainty, to predict the way that things are going to go into the future. And so I was working with a client today that, this is one of their top priorities. And they, after working with me for a while, I think that they got the misconception that, like, certainty is like a bad thing. Like, I shouldn't want certainty. But the fact is, we all need certainty. We all want certainty to some extent. And so, their original, I think, misconception was, I want this certainty, and now that I've let go of it, I feel afraid, I feel challenged, I feel worried, I'm going crazy because, and this was a situation where they were going to have an out-of-town event, and they had housing issues and the question of where they were going to live and where they were going to stay and things like that. And so the client was like, I'm kind of freaking out. I let go of this certainty, and now I'm afraid, I'm anxious, I'm worried, I'm obsessing about this. What do I do? And so what I started to realize was, they think that certainty is like a bad thing. Like, they don't get to have it now. And the problem is that the human body and the human psychology doesn't live without certainty. It dies. Has to have some sense of consistency, or that you'll be able to regularly avoid pain and gain a certain amount of pleasure, at least have comfort at a minimum level. And so she did a great job of letting go of certainty, letting go of the issues there, but the issue stayed around because it's something that we all need. It's like we all got to eat. Some of us just overdo it a bit, right? So what I understood then was she was out of her comfort zone, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the reason why there was uncertainty there was not because she needed certainty, because everybody needs certainty. I need certainty. We all need to predict something about life. But the problem was the rules that they had, the rules that this client had about what it took for them to meet that certainty need. They had all these rules. And this is a top performing, individual, runs a very successful business, and they are an extrovert. That's part of their power, is that they go out there and they make things happen with customers and clients and business and partners, etc. But because they're so externally focused, they have an external frame of reference. You NLP people would know what I'm talking about. Which just means that they're focused outside of themselves. The world to them is everything outside of them. They don't focus on themselves. They focus on everything around them, right? The external world. And when the external world is not certain, this person is not certain, because all their rules about what it takes to get certainty, it's all based upon what's happening around them. And so my coaching for them was, look, you got to change your frame of reference for this particular situation, because you're not in control of things around you. And so when you see that, and if your rule continues to be, I have to have everything be a certain way outside of me to be certain, you're going to be afraid, you're going to be anxious, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So during those circumstances, the thing is, it doesn't mean that you can't have certainty. It just means you need to change your frame of reference to inside. Because you always have some control over yourself, over your own identity, over who you are, over your own individual beliefs. You can always control those things. You can't always control other people. You can't always control other situations. It's like the serenity prayer, I guess. Give me the knowledge or the peace or the wherewithal, the wisdom, I guess is what they would say in the prayer, to know the difference between things I can control and I can't control. It's not just about what you can control and can't control. It's about focusing on and having rules around certainty that you can control. And it's okay to have those rules when you can control them outside of yourself, but when you can't, you got to change to an internal frame of reference. Because you can always control what you believe and who you decide yourself to be. You can't always control other people. So in this situation, my coaching for them was change your reference to internal, and that's not easy for an extrovert. So as an extrovert, what you can do is, first of all, flex that muscle more and say, you know what, right now, it's time for dinner. But I won't stop. I'll get to the point here. The point is that as an extrovert, you got to flex that internal muscle and say, I'm going to stop focusing on everything around me, outside myself. I'm going to focus inside, whether that means meditation or just letting myself go and just giving myself some peaceful moments, or thinking about what's really going on inside of me that I can control. I can get that certainty back. And so she thought about this, and she started to cry, and she said, I realize, that this has been controlling me a big part of my life, and that I, that there's something there for me when I'm not focused on that certainty. And I said to her, the reason why, this is something that's really deep for you and that you're crying about right now is because when you let go, not of certainty, but when you let go of your rules about what it takes to be certain, suddenly you're free to focus on having more significance in your life, connecting more deeply, and you're connecting with who you really are, because you can't do that when you're busy trying to control everything around you. So after she got that, and after we went a little farther with the conversation, the big point was to internalize her frame of reference for certainty and change her rules about it. She came up with all these new rules about who she was and what really was meaningful to her about herself, not just things in her life, not things outside of her, but inside of her, right? And as a result of that, she came up with this really, really great new affirmation. And I said, look, as an extrovert, that's great, but as soon as you get off this call with me, that's going to evaporate if you don't ritualize it. So in order to make it so you take total control back of your power, of your ability to feel certain, of your ability to reconnect and really feel at peace even in the worst circumstances, so that if you were at your deathbed, if you had no idea if you were going to live or die in the next couple days, that you would still feel at peace, is that reminder not to change your frame of reference, because you can't always do that as an extrovert. Sometimes you're going to focus outside of yourself, right? But that you take what you've discovered inside of you and you externalize it by writing down this new affirmation, by writing down what you said, or by collaging it, by drawing a picture of it, by you do anything, whatever you need to do to get it outside of you, so that every day it pops up on your reminders, it pops up on your wall, it does something so that you don't have to refocus internally, because you're not always going to do that as an extrovert. But if you're focused outside of yourself and you take what's inside, you put it outside, you put it on your wall, you write it down, you put it in your reminder system in your phone or something to pop up every day that you wake up, or on your bathroom mirror on a sticky note, whatever. I mean, you get the idea. That it will remind you at least once a day that you can have certainty at any time. It'll remind you of what you already know is true, but it's easy to forget as an extrovert when you're focused on everything but you. I said, if you let your logistics and your circumstances around you as an extrovert control you, then you're going to be a slave to that the rest of your life. However, if you change that circumstance just a little bit to give you that little ray of light, that little bit of freedom that says, hey, just remember, I can be certain no matter what. Just remember, I am powerful and I can create whatever circumstances I need. And I know I'm more than my current situation, that those circumstances can reprogram the way you think about the current circumstances, even if they're challenging. And so the key distinctions was certainty's not bad, comfort zone's not bad. We all need to meet certainty. We just have different rules for meeting that. And that as an extrovert, you want to practice having an internal frame of reference, but even easier for an extrovert is take the wisdom that will set you free to meet the needs that you're not currently meeting or that you're struggling with. Make sure that you externalize that in an affirmation or a reminder system or a collage or something you put on your wall, just to be a memory jogger on a daily basis to give you that freedom back. Because as an extrovert, you'll forget this stuff. So that was really a big part of the lesson, was that it's not about not getting certainty, it's about changing your rules for certainty so that reminder that you would put into place never keeps you from your full power. Never can stop you from the life that you're meant to live, that you could live if you take advantage of it. So I think that's the big lesson that I got from that session today. So I hope that helps, and I look forward to talking to you hopefully at another end of a coaching day like this. We'll see. Let me know if these sound like they're valuable and that they are things that you'd like me to continue doing. Any questions or comments or thoughts on this, please feel free to put those in the comments. And if you're on YouTube right now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'll see you on Facebook.